Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider and sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. Did you grow up on those nursery rhymes like I did? I never knew what curds and whey were. I think probably when I was a kid, I thought they were some nasty breakfast food my mom might try to serve me, but I never asked. So in this video, we're going to show you exactly what curds and whey are. Basically, they are what happens when you leave raw milk out on the counter at room temperature for a day or a couple, depending on what the temperature in your home is. So welcome to OTH, and let's get started with some curds and whey. All right, welcome back to OTH. Today we are going to try and make whey. And what is whey? I am just learning that myself, but whey is the watery part of milk that kind of separates when you are basically making cheese, or actually the fermentation of the curds, as would be correct to say. So this is actually our very first time trying to do this. Whey is actually a very, very beneficial product, and if you are one of those bodybuilders or someone that makes protein shakes, you might want to check into actually doing this yourself, because whey is what they use in a lot of those products out there. They use it in a powdered form, but this, you can actually, once this is done, you're supposed to be able to take a tablespoon of the whey, add it to water, and it's super good for your digestion. People have been using this for hundreds, at least hundreds of years. So right here, I have a wide mouth quart jar with fresh, raw goat's milk. It has not been pasteurized. We just got this from a good friend down the road this morning. She milks her goats every day. This is from her. So basically, super, super easy. I'm gonna leave the lid on it, and simply because, as you know, there are just wild yeasts in the air, and so I don't want any of that getting into the jar and affecting basically the fermentation process of this. I'm going to leave the lid on it, and we're just going to leave this on the counter for the next at least 24 hours, possibly up to 3 or 4 days. And what is supposed to happen is there's supposed to be a separation. So you can look right now, it's all solid form. There's no visible separation at all in this jar right now, just the air at the top. I'm just going to set it over in a dark part of my counter, and we're going to let it go, and we will show you as we discover this process for ourselves. The purpose that we are making the whey for is to continue fermenting vegetables, and especially trying to ferment some fruits, because it's absolutely necessary, from what I've seen and read, to use whey in fermenting of fruits. But again, we're leaving the jar lid on so that nothing from the air. I know sometimes when people make kefir, sour, I did it with my sourdough. I would leave just a coffee filter with a rubber band, but we often had to throw out our sourdough and start again. So I am believing that the lid on is going to help keep some of that extra bacteria and stuff out of there, and we're just going to get the natural process. People have been doing this stuff for thousands of years without fancy equipment, without special things going on. So that's our hope, and our desire is to make things as simple as possible and to use what we already have and to do it in the most simple form possible without spending a lot of money on special equipment or things like that. We want to learn how to preserve our food and just do things the way they used to, especially for all of the health benefits. So thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a blessed day. Bye. Welcome back to OTH. I'm so excited. We just got home from our fellowship, and look what we found on the counter. This is our raw goat's milk. The first jar that we showed you, we had a little bit of trouble. I'll tell you about that in a second. So this actually we just milked yesterday at 10 a.m. So it's been about 30 some hours since then, and you can see that it is separating. This is turning into our raw cream cheese, and this is our whey. So I want to show you the next step in this process. But before I do that, I want to show you what you should definitely do if you've not done raw milk before. This is a fabulous little strainer. We bought this off of Amazon with a canning kit when we were doing kefir. It fits right perfectly on the mouth of jars, so you can strain right into it. You won't lose, if you're doing kefir, you won't lose the grains. It will sift out lots of tiny little things. It's very fine grain in there. So anyhow, if you're doing raw milk like us, we don't own the goats. This is really our first experience. So we got up the first morning after we showed you our raw goat's milk on the counter, and there was something floating in the top of it. I thought, a hair, I'll scoop it out. And as I scooped one hair, there were several. It ended up being a large daddy long leg. So he was dead, but we threw him out and we threw out the milk and went back yesterday and started the process over. We just wanted to be pure with everything that we did. So anyhow, as soon as you see that your cheese and your whey are separating, what you're going to do is you're going to take some kind of a glass jar, or a glass dish actually. I have just a Pyrex bowl here, and I have a clean 100% cotton dish towel. I got these at Walmart. You can use anything, any clean dish towel. Cheesecloth probably would work just fine. You're gonna line it in the bowl, and then you use a colander, and we're just gonna dump this in here. Basically is the first step. And so this is gonna take the bulk of the whey through there, and it's this nice, oops, and I'm spilling it off the side. That was a little too fast there. And it's just slowly dripping out. And I'm going to try and tip it a little bit so you can see without it hopefully going over the edge of my bowl. It definitely looks like a very soft cottage cheese at this moment. And you can kind of see it's, you know, curdling up there. The whey is just slipping through and into the cheesecloth. You want it to go through the cheesecloth and into the bowl down here. And you can see that that is taking place. A little bit of that is happening. And then what we're going to do is take the bundle of cheese into this same towel, and we're going to tie it into a little ball on a wooden spoon and hang it on here tonight and let it sit for a couple more hours and let the rest of the whey drip out of there. I don't want to squeeze it or do anything like that because I don't want any of the cheese in there. You just want it to, whatever comes through is what you want in there. And then we'll show you the final process, and basically that is it. You can store this wonderful cream cheese once it forms. Probably tomorrow this will be ready. You can store that up in the refrigerator for up to 6 months, or a month on the cream cheese, I think it is. Let me double check that for you. Yeah, it's a month on the cream cheese, and it's 6 months on your whey. And whey, again, whey has a fantastic history. You can search it up on Google, but people have been using it for years and years and years, and for home remedies for muscle aches, aching back, tired ligaments and joints. We have not tried any of that. Our purpose right now is to try and use it to ferment some fruit and to jumpstart some of our other fermentations. But since we're going to have so much in the refrigerator, we might as well try that, and we'll let you know if we see any difference. My husband's been experiencing some tendinitis and things, so maybe he'll be the first guinea pig in our home and try a tablespoon every morning. But right now, that's the process. Like I said, I'm going to lift this towel out, and then I'm going to pour the cheese into that, hopefully without making a huge mess. But it is going to take a few minutes for that whey to go through the towel. So that process, we'll let that sit there for a minute and do its thing, and then we'll get back to you with what happens with the rest of the cheese. Okay, so we're learning by trial and error. I think next time you definitely a wide mouth jar, not big enough if you're using a full-size dish towel. Okay, so we have improvised right here. Just let the whey drip into our glass bowl, and I just left it there. And I just wrapped up the cheese. The cheese is in this dish towel right here, this ball right here. It's still sopping wet. And all we're going to do is let that sit here for a few minutes. And actually, we did that off camera, let it sit. So it's pretty much, there's still a few little drops in here. But once it is done dripping, what you have inside of your dish towel is cream cheese. Fantastic, raw, delicious cream cheese. We're going to eat it tomorrow on toast. We'll let you know what we think of it because it will be our first try. I probably won't let my children tell you what they really think of it though. But we'll try it tomorrow. The whey, we're just going to put in another clean jar here. That's the whey that I started dripping out. And we'll store that in the fridge for up to 6 months. So I'll write with the Sharpie on the lid and write what the date is on that. And one more thing, I think if I were to do this again, what I would do, I think I made it a little more complicated, is put the towel inside of your strainer instead of inside of the bowl. Put it inside of the strainer, then you can just lift up on the towel and wrap the cheese inside. I had to kind of clean up a big mess with the whey dripping everywhere. So just a pointer for you on that. But I think we are just about there. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a twist here to let that last bit of liquid out of my bag. I don't want to squeeze too hard because I can see, I don't know that you can see it, but there is a little bit of that soft cheese coming out of the side. We don't necessarily want that. We want to save that for our cream cheese. And we're going to pop that into another jar. Since this is the one, I'm kind of a purist on that, I'm going to get a fresh, clean jar. But I am going to pour the whey in there and store that and put the cheese. I'll show you what it kind of looks like. It's in the towel here. And we're going to store that in a jar and enjoy the fruit of our labor. It is really, really soft. It would be probably like the fluffy cream cheese if you buy that stuff at the store, even a little bit softer, more liquidy still right now. But I'm sure tomorrow, once we've put it in the fridge, it will solidify a little bit more and we'll be able to spread it right on our toast in the morning or our bagels. So hopefully this helps you, and I'm excited to get started doing a few more ferments and using the whey for a whole bunch of other things in our home kitchen. Thank you for watching. Bye.